So everybody's heard of microfinance, right? So a poor woman in a village borrows $100 to buy a sewing machine and then lives happily ever after. So, I mean, there's more, obviously, but that's the basic story. Well, microfinance, for all its successes and Nobel Prizes, has one big flaw. Oh, not that. There we go. And it's currency risk. So if you look at the value chain of microfinance, it starts with well-intentioned social investors and foundations and governments at the top. And they're lending dollars and euros mostly. At the bottom, you've got the local economy, which generates the revenues that pays back all these loans. And it's obviously in local currency. So if at some point in this value chain, or in the loan cycle, those two currencies have to be exchanged, the red currency and the green currency. And whoever is caught at that point of exchange, if the local currency devalues relative to the dollars and euros coming down from the top, basically they're screwed. Because all of a sudden, the loans that they need to repay are worth more than the revenues that they have coming up to repay them. And unfortunately, in microfinance, the person who gets screwed is usually the micro-entrepreneur, or at best, the microfinance institution, the weakest link in the chain. So about 4 years ago, a group of microfinance organizations approached me to help start a company to deal with this problem. And ironically, ironically, I had run a microfinance fund that was committing exactly this sin that we're now trying to exercise. So this was kind of my shot at redemption. And it didn't need to be that hard. The problem of currency mismatch is something that every international business deals with. And the solutions are out there. Currency derivatives, which are swaps and forwards. The problem is that swap markets don't exist in most of the places that microfinance needs to operate. So we had to be able to offer currency swaps in places that they never were before. So to do that, we borrowed an idea from the hedge fund world. And in a nutshell, it's basically the risk that we take off of our clients via swaps, we then diversify kind of in the way that a hedge fund would run an emerging markets portfolio. So what did we create? Well, we have a company. Our company's called MFX Solutions, and it uses derivatives. And since the last financial crisis, we now know derivatives better as financial weapons of mass destruction. And we combine that with an idea we took from hedge funds, bad, yuck, hedge funds. And we created something that gets more financing more safely to people who earn $2 a day in the developing world. So you ask, well, does it actually work, or is this just sort of financial engineering that sounds good? Well, when we started, we didn't want to just get safer financing to people who are already getting it. But we wanted to drive financing to the places that were being neglected by microfinance because the risks were too high. So when we started, Africa was only getting about 8% of the total microfinance lending. And it's still early days for us, but our business is about 30% in Africa right now. And we're dealing with new funds that are devoted to Africa that have come up that are using hedging. So I think we are definitely part of a shift in microfinance that's going more toward those who really, really need it. And then just sort of my final thought is I think we are just one data point in what is really a big explosion in innovations in how to get top of the pyramid business solutions working on bottom of the pyramid problems. And so for PMP to be starting, its next 40 years, I just think there are millions of ways that GSB grads are going to be able to meld their values and their business skills. And I think it's just going to be really excited to watch that.